Okay. Well, let's kick it off if everyone has joined in. So, thanks, gang. Thanks for all joining. So, hopefully, you're in the right place. So, this will be streamlining your finance operations with automation. The webinar this month. I'm Rob. I look after the marketing here at Target Integration. I'm joined here by Rohit, who's my MD and also be the consultant for today. In terms of a bit of a structure for today's call, I'll do a quick introduction to TI for the unadorned. If you don't know who we are, I'll go through sort of who we are and what we do. And then what I've done today actually is prepared a bit of a surprise for Rohit because I have a list of questions that I don't think he's seen yet. So I'm going to see if we can catch him out on this webinar. And we're sort of going to frame it as if I was querying him, as if I was a client coming to Rohit saying, hey, how do you automate this operation, this finance operation? We'll just go from that regard. So if I just share my screen quickly, and you can let me know when you can all see that.
I can see that now.
Shift F5. And if that wants to load. Real. Yep. Okie dokie then. So yes, welcome to Streamlining Your Finance Ops today. And then we just go through a quick introduction for TI again for the unadorned. So who are we and what do we do? If I want to go to the next screen, we call ourselves digital adoption specialists. Why do we call ourselves digital adoption specialists? Well, it's actually exactly what we do for other businesses. We come into companies, we allow them to adopt the right technology and work in a smarter, faster, more reactive way with either the tools they have or maybe even tools that they don't know that they have. We're actually a globally based company with offices across the US, UK, and India. The UK and Ireland specifically, we have offices across over in Ireland with the HQ over in Dublin. We're at the moment based in Oxford, and we also have an office up in Birmingham as well. So what do we do? So we actually work with organizations to streamline their operations through digital transformation. It's a bit of a catch-all term, but this essentially means that we improve their internal processes and can automate those systems wherever available, allowing them to either extract more time, more data, and more efficiency from their work. Here's just a quick list of some of the services that we offer. We like to say that we're product agnostic. I think today we will say that we're keep us fairly product agnostic. Again, we won't just say we work with one specific product. There's actually a whole suite of services that we do work with. But here are just some of the services that we offer. And again, some of our partners, again, we say we're product agnostic. Here's just a list of some of the partners that we do work with and some of the technologies that we work with. There's a whole list outside of this I don't think I could fit on one slide. And as well as this as well, we do also work with, if you have a bespoke piece of software and things like that as well, we can help manage that. Here's just a small list of some of the UKI team. I haven't yet made the cut for this list yet, but one day we'll cross Rohit out apparently. And here's just some of our clients in the UKI space again. University of Oxford on here as well, and that's actually around the corner. I think we can see the spires of one of the colleges from here actually. Thank you. Right, so like I said, in terms of the structure of today's webinar, I'm going to drop off the screen share for a minute. I'll bring it back up with some of the questions we're going to ask Rohit. And what we're going to do is essentially, I will pretend to essentially be that customer who's come to Rohit and gone, hey, I need to do X, Y, Z, and see if we'll catch him out with some of these questions, okay? I'm just going to stop sharing.
Go easy, Robert. Go easy.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen quickly. I don't know if Rohit, there's anything you want to say before we kick off?
No, you covered it well. So looking forward to answering those questions. And I think sometimes, yes, if any of the audience have any questions, please put them in the Q&A chat and we'll answer them as we go along, and or if you want us to answer them at the end as well. But I think an interactive session is better than just a monologue. So please put them in and we'll answer them as we go on. Robert?
Yep, fantastic. Yep, you have the chat function there, guys. If you want to pop any questions in there, I've got it up on my other window here, so we'll try and get to that as we can. So let me share my screen. We can go to that first question. There we go. So question one, nice and easy for you, Rohit. So automate invoice generation. So how would you auto generate and create and send invoices based on a sales order or subscriptions to help reduce any manual entry or billing errors?
Interesting. So this is something I was talking to a partner of ours this morning, and she is an accountant based in Dublin. And the conversation primarily was all around subscriptions. See, if you're working in an association, in a in an environment in business where you have a lot of subscriptions going through, what you don't want to do is at the end of the day sit there and create invoices on the basis of your subscriptions, which are stored in Excel spreadsheets or places like this. What you actually want to do is those subscriptions to automatically generate the invoice. Now, in some cases, those subscriptions you may go, no, we can't auto subscription or auto invoices go to the clients. I understand your dilemma. I fully understand your concerns as well. I'll be the same because we are a B2B business and every subscription value is quite big. So you don't want those invoices to go out automatically, probably. And if that's the case, yes, check it, send them out. But you must to automate your subscription invoices into your accounting software, not separately somewhere else. So from that perspective, yes, that definitely is one easy option. Second easy option is if you're in the business of stock management, warehouse, if people are ordering on the basis of their.
Sorry, Ray, just to stop you quickly, your mic's just dropped a bit. Just have it.
Is it better?
That sounds better. Sorry.
We'll try. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, I'll switch to another mic.
Brilliant.
So yeah, look at this from the perspective of if you are getting an order from a customer, the easiest option sometimes is, deliver it to the customer, deliver the products to the customer, and generate the invoice automatically. Again, the accountants fear this, but you'll have to get the confidence of accountants, finance people find that look, if it is correct, you will be able to. If it is,
I think we've lost you again, right?
Switching. So
sorry about that, gang. I'll blame it on
this is technology. Yeah.
We'll just switch those over.
Should be easy. Better now.
Much better. Brilliant.
Okay. So yeah, sorry about that, but sure, I hope you got the gist of it. If not, I'll happily repeat some of that as well. But yes, you're talking about invoices being generated automatically from sales orders and subscriptions. And yes, both of those are possible, should be possible in your environment. It's the confidence that you need to give to the finance people that the GL codes will be correct and all that. And that comes from setting up the products correctly. If you set up your products, your services correctly in the system, if your customers are set up correctly as well, and if you say, well, if the sales is to a customer in Europe and I want them marked separately, differently, yes, the GL codes configuration can do that for you. So look at your systems and look at them from the perspective of can automation kick in? And if the rules are in your head, it's all about writing it down on a piece of paper, Excel spreadsheet, give it to your consultants, developers, and they can implement them in the system and your automation kicks in. So I hope that helps. And it makes sense as well to some of you who are finance. I can see some very interesting people here in the attendees list. So I hope that makes sense from the perspective of finance and accounting team as well. Just quickly. You're muted now.
Sorry, just quickly with that one then, Rohit. You mentioned that you need to have either your stock or your products set up correctly. What do you exactly mean by that, and how would you know if they're set up correctly for this?
Yeah. See, products. So when you're configuring products in a proper ERP system, stock management system, full finance system, you can define the GL codes, you can define the nominal ledger codes on the products. You can also define them on the customers or suppliers as well. And if your customers, products, and suppliers are set up correctly with the correct rules, your final invoice automatically generated by the sales order will always be right. And that's what I mean when I say, yes, set up correctly. There are multiple ways of saying what is correct, but yes, in this finance term, it's all about nominal ledger codes, isn't it?
Okay, fantastic. Awesome stuff. Right, I will go on to our next question then. Let me just share my screen again. So this question 2, is fairly similar to that first one. We may have answered some of it. So this is from the perspective of, say, if I was an online store, how would I raise that invoice automatically? How would I generate that automatically? Again, does this fall back onto having everything set up correctly? Did we answer this previously?
To a certain extent, but then at the same time, in this case, you are also talking about the setup of your products in your online store. And now, typically, of course, we love our Shopify's, our WooCommerces, and all of those places where we set up, where we sell products online. You realize pretty quickly that they don't talk to the accounting software directly. So first of all, you get that direct connection. Second is, from a setup perspective, you do want the same configuration travel through into your accounting software. So the products configured correctly in your e-commerce store should be able to trigger invoices correctly in your accounting software. But don't forget, e-commerce, which means that the invoices are automatically paid. When I say automatically, they are paid by the customer before you ship anything online. So when they come into the accounting software, they should come in with the payment marked on them. If they don't, your accountants, your bookkeepers will be sitting there doing extra work to make, to update and to reconcile and do all of that work. So yes, make their life easier and make sure that there is an automation built in from your e-commerce store into your accounting software. And that's also another big opportunity in terms of automation and reducing manual workload.
And effectively, is that the same process then if you sold online and had a brick and mortar store as well then?
Brick and mortar store has another little kind of kink with it. With a brick and mortar store, you have the possibility of selling with a sales order. So somebody walks in, you're using your software immediately beside you, and you're quickly typing the information into the software. Or the second option you have is use a point of sale system. So people walk in, you're barcode scanning it, or you're typing it in, or you're a restaurant, you're tapping things in. Some of the accounting professionals would say, well, you don't need to type each of those in. You're right. Yes. It all depends on the ticket items. It all depends on whether it is stock that you're trying to manage or not as well. But yes, if you have a brick and mortar store, that's another sales point, another entry point for sales. And from that perspective, yes, what you want to do is make sure that any sales done in the brick and mortar store also comes in to your accounting software. Now, either as a till open and till end, which means that you're not taking every transaction, you're only taking the till final closure amount, or a full breakdown. That's your decision, and again, down to the configuration, down to the decision of your accounting team as well, finance team as well.
Awesome. I keep adding these extra ones in to see if I can throw you off, but you're doing well so far. Yeah, we'll go on to the next one.
I would also happily say that, look, if anybody else has any comments and questions, please put them through as well. Thank you for the feedback on the mic earlier. So that does mean that the message is getting across. Use the Q&A chats and raise any questions, please.
Yeah. If you've got any specific requirements from your business or any questions from your side you want to ask, Rohit, obviously pop them in the chat and we'll get to them as well. These are just some general questions that I've come across. So let's go on to question 3 while we're waiting. So payment reminders. So this is one actually from personal experience when I used to be a freelancer. So payment reminders and email notifications. How would you automate and schedule those? Are there systems for that? Is that something that we can do? Is that something you can do?
Very interesting question, Robert. And I must say, double-edged sword. If you have a personal relationship with a client, regular reminders sometimes put them off as well. So you have to play it carefully. But yes, if they are done creatively and carefully enough, because you can change the templates. Don't use the templates which come out of Xero and come out of your accounting software or your ERP system. What you do is customize them so that they sound like coming from a Robert or a John or an Ashling or a Peter. You want to put your own personality into it. Yes, you're following up, but you're nicely following up to say you might have forgotten it. If you are funny in most of your messages with your clients, would you not put that into your follow-up reminders as well? And every now and then, pick up the phone. So effectively, if you are following up payments on a regular basis, probably after every second email, there should be a phone call to say, are they even getting those emails? But yes, automation can be done. And in bigger organization, you can even automate phone calls. So one of our clients has recently integrated phone system into their follow-up chain. So what happens now is after 2 follow-up emails, an automated call goes to the customer, say your account is overdue. And there's no human intervention in this. Sometimes they just need this nudge. And these are big clients. You're talking about, thousands of invoices being generated every day. So their workload is quite high. And what they didn't want to do was, no, we need to put somebody there to kind of ring. Yes, in their case, a 5th phone call is a human phone call. Or a 5th follow-up is a human phone call.
So effectively, what we're getting at here, it seems like, Rohit, that is it's a growth thing of if you're a small enough business, you can probably manage a lot of those invoices, maybe manually. But as you sort of grow and you're receiving more invoices, it comes to a point where you're going to have to automate a lot of those processes. Otherwise, you've got more staff in maybe the finance department than anywhere else.
And to be honest, most of these things, automation is very important when it comes to a big business. But then at the same time, if you don't put the discipline in when you're small, when you become bigger, it's a bigger challenge to bring that discipline in. So sometimes it's easier for startups to put the system in and then let the system take care of the rules as they grow. So it's easier to go and start with a 1-2 user ERP system today. Back 15 years ago, that wasn't the case. When we started the business 17 years ago in 2008, it was an uphill battle to sell the idea of cloud to businesses. And now at this stage, it's a de facto standard. In another 5 years' time, AI will be a de facto standard. If you give a system without AI, people wouldn't even like it. So technology is changing at a very fast pace, and you want to set your business up for the correct growth in future. And from that perspective, yes, it's important to have systems put in place immediately as soon as you start, rather than wait for becoming bigger. Come up with the processes now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We just actually have an anonymous question in the chat here, actually, which is how do non-human phone calls work? You mentioned that previously.
So the non-human phone calls work in a way you define a script effectively, and you give that script to effectively a robot, which is connected to your PBX system, and it's making a phone call, ringing a customer. When the customer picks up, it plays a standard message which says your invoice number so and so of amount so and so is pending, and if you have any questions about this invoice, press 2 to speak to an operator. If not, it's overdue. Can you please pay? And at that stage, if the customer has it, the accounts payable person at the other end has the issue, they press 2, they get connected to somebody who then answers the queries. If they don't, it's just a reminder, and they pay.
Would that be set up as part of a workflow then? So maybe an automated reminder would go out and then a call, etc. Okay.
So it has to be. It has to follow the follow-up trail of your accounting software. There will be something on the lines of, so for an example, some of the ones that we have set up, and this is the one that we were talking about earlier as well. It's first email after 30 days. But before 30 days hit, so generally in the finance world, we define accounting, we define follow-up rules. First follow-up rule is, look, follow up when after 30 days. But there is another rule that we have defined as well, which is before the 30 days hit, just send them a quick nudge to say, in 5 days' time, this invoice would be overdue. Then second follow-up, 15 days after 30 days are over. And third follow-up is the phone call. So you're defining this whole workflow to say, this is how I want my customers followed up. Plus, at the same time, what you also want to do, and what you're doing is defining a little bit of a human intervention as well, rules for your specific customers. Some customers may not have the need of similar follow-up.
Awesome. Okay. Again, guys, if you've got any more questions, just pop them in the chat there, and we'll get to them when we can. Let me just share my screen. We'll go on to the next one. Okay, question 4, booking systems integration. So say if we were a restaurant or even a bowling alley, that kind of thing, where we need to send post bookings, invoices out, is that something that would potentially be automated and is possible?
Definitely. And, don't forget serviced offices as well, where we are sitting today. So yes, you can look at the possibility of having a shared calendar, having a joint calendar online, where online on this calendar, you have all of your booking slots available, all of your rooms, your desks available, and people are booking onto it. When they are booking, they effectively book a slot. That slot becomes unavailable, but then at the same time, it creates the invoice, and same as any e-commerce workflow, it creates the payment in the accounting software, marks the payment as completed as well. So the invoice shows up as paid, and your accounting team isn't unnecessarily following up with the client either. So yes, that's possible and very doable with most of the systems available online.
Oh, awesome stuff. Right. We'll go on to the next one. I've got no follow-ups to that one. You're pretty definitive with that one right here. Well done. We'll go on to question 5, which is bank reconciliation automation. So can we match bank transactions with larger entities? Can that use AI? I know that's a buzzword going on at the minute. What can be done there?
So multiple rules there and multiple options there as well. Again, one thing that I'm a big fan of, don't increase the number of systems in your business. Don't just go, we'll bring in another software which will do this. There are a number of specific software out there which will do bank reconciliation alone. Do you really want that? You want a good accounting software which can take care of this for you. So from that perspective, you define rules for your customer suppliers, and when you're paying your suppliers, you're putting in the invoice number. That's possible. That's just a good rule that you can put into your accounting software to say when you're creating that bank transfer file, put the supplier's invoice number or our internal bill number onto it, which will automatically reconcile when the payment, when the bank statement comes back into your accounting software. It'll automatically pick up, okay, well, this payment was for this particular supplier, and matches up. The second option also you have is on the basis of the name of the payee as well. So immediately look up the name of the payee. The software will. You're not doing anything. You're leaving this to automation. So none of these things that we're talking about human intervention in there. It's all automation. And yes, the lookup is on the basis of your the name of the supplier. And from that supplier, it effectively picks up and goes, okay, well, this supplier has such and such amount pending, which is an exact match. And effectively, we will, match it up with those 3 invoices, 2 invoices, 1 invoice as needed. So that's also is possible and easily doable. I think, primarily, yes, AI is a big buzzword, Rob, and AI makes life easier because what it does is once you've started matching a few of these, let's say for some reason the rules engine didn't work and it didn't recognize a couple of payments, and you picked it up, and whenever this, SB2135 comes in, that actually belongs to this supplier, and that supplier or this customer, and that customer for some reason never puts the invoice number. You told them to, but they still don't want to follow it. They never put their own name on it, which means that you will have to do the hard work. But as AI sees you doing this, picks up and goes, next time I'm not going to wait for Rob to do this, I'm going to auto match it. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay, we have had a question in the chat there as well, Rohit, which is there a software solution that covers all of the topics that we've discussed so far? I mean, is there a specific one? Is this multiple suite of softwares we're talking about here? What's the answer to that?
Paracetamol?
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying paracetamol. No.
Oh, paracetamol.
Well, look, I think, specific situations require specific software. We can talk about a couple of them if we like, but then at the same time, I think it will be biased opinion if we give you something like that. It's horses for courses. Every business is different, and that's why we would love to have a chat with you and accordingly recommend. But there are a number of software which can do this. And it's all about, as I said, you don't want to bring in another software in the business. What you want to do is, if you bring one in, you ideally remove one or two or more from your business and go, now I have one Bible, Quran, Gita to follow, rather than kind of go into three different software and trying to make them talk to each other. No. So, yeah, come and talk to us. I think that's the reason we should probably have a cup of coffee in person one of the days.
Yeah, I think with that question, guys, what I'll do is after the webinar today, I'll send out the recording link to everyone and essentially give you a chance there to send any questions over to myself or Rohit anyway. So if you have any sort of specifics to do with your business or anything that we talked about today, we can follow up after the webinar. Okie dokie, we'll swing on to question 6. There we go. Lab tests and service-based buildings are a hit. So industries like healthcare, science labs, things like that. Is it possible to sort of automate and generate sort of any tests, consultation bookings, things like that? That's probably very similar to what we spoke about previously, but what do you think?
That's a very interesting one now. Okay. So there are a number of lab management systems, LMSs as they are called. And lab management systems allow you to effectively, something comes into your lab, whether it is food testing that they're into, whether it is just testing equipment and making sure that they are compliant with various regulations, whether they are PAT tests and things like those. You effectively are doing what is called a quality control job. You're issuing a certificate at the end to the client to say, we have tested your products and they comply or not comply to the compliance that you wanted it to achieve. And don't forget, ultimately, each of these are jobs for you, right? So from that perspective, there's somebody who's booking the jobs for you, whether they are called cases, repair orders, you're effectively getting a task, doing that task, and charging for that task. Do you charge before the job is done? Do you charge after the job is done? And on the basis of that, you can automate the workflow to say, when the order is taken, whether the order is taken online, the order is taken on the phone, the order is coming in the email, whatever, you effectively automate the journey from one entry point, which is, let's say, the order comes in, to the other, which is the invoice is generated. And you don't go out. You effectively go, order taken from such and such customer for such and such device or food item to be tested. This is the quality scope. This is the testing that we need to do. And once that testing is complete, send them an invoice and don't only give them a certificate if they pay. Maybe. But yes, what you want to do is automate the whole journey. And then effectively in any of this, if there is payment as well, you want to automate the payment. You don't want to sit there. And by the way, one big no-no is don't take credit card numbers on the phone. Don't take any credit card details in the emails and things like those. They are very insecure. What you want to do is send a link to the customer and get them to pay. Also, another possibility there can be, if you're taking the payment online, now it's a little bit more, expensive solution, but you've seen all of these where you type in the credit card number in the phone. That's more secure than somebody giving the credit card number on the phones. So look at more automation options, but make sure that cybersecurity is a part of all of this as well. But yes, the lab management system, from our perspective, from any system consultant's perspective, is effectively a job that you're doing, and that job needs to be paid for before or after.
Okay, sounds good. I'll pop over my screen for question 7. Recurring journal entries, Rohit. So how would you automate repeating entries, actuals, payroll, things like this? This is probably a question that's probably relevant to every business, I imagine.
Robert, I must say, not being an accountant, or you aren't an accountant, but you still came up with some really good questions. Well done.
Been trying to catch you out today. That's the plan.
Damn it. Okay, right. Yeah. So recurring journals, again, in the AI world, would you believe recurring journals are becoming much easier? Because what you're doing with recurring journals at this stage is you're effectively marking them as recurring. And if you don't, and AI picks it up, that the same invoice has come in twice on the same date a few times, it just marks it as recurring and it just goes, by the way, you're going to have an expense coming in. It also allows you to come up with a forecast as well. It tells you that, look, in future, your outlay is going to be X, which means that, yes, your cash flow reporting becomes easier. So recurring journals can also be automated. They can be automated on the basis of your subscription payments, which is subscriptions, can be automated on the basis of subscriptions that you have signed up to, or can be automated at journal entries level as well. And again, they are automatically being created either in draft or posted for you as well if you allow the system to. And yes, life is easier.
Thought I'd get you with that one, but looks like we've done a good job on that one. Well done, Rohit. Now, if I just pop over to my screen again, we'll go to question 8. Subscription billing automation, Rohit. So how would you manage recurring subscriptions from retailers or maybe even your suppliers, things like that?
Yeah. Subscriptions have become quite popular nowadays. I mean, if you look at it, there is subscription available for fruit coming to the office, the fruit people. There's subscription coming in from our groceries nowadays as well, health food as well. There is subscription available for almost everything, and subscription became a big well, income source and a more predictable income source for businesses. And if you follow a subscription model, or if you can come up with a subscription model for your business, it will really help you grow further. It'll help you also define your cash flow and your income for future as well. So look at those possibilities, and they can be automated with the view that, yes, once you've defined the subscription in the system, it's automatically reminding them before the subscription renews, I will be taking a direct debit from your account on such and such date. You can automate the direct debit. So it goes through Go Cardless or directly through your bank account and takes the payment out of customer's bank account if they have given you an authorization for a direct debit. Your other possibility, of course, is to send them an invoice link, automate the payment through credit card direct debits as well. So credit card is being debited on a regular basis. And then, yes, a payment receipt goes in automatically, and all of this is posted back in your finance system. Ultimately, it's all about making life of finance people easy. So that's also a possibility.
Awesome. Sounds good. Let's go over to question 9. If it wants to share my screen, come on, Zoom. There we go. So automated expense approvals. So I assume this is probably a big one as well.
It's a big one from the perspective of, if you look at it, as the company, as your organization, as the business is growing, I'm sure you have more people coming into the business. As more people are coming into the business, you have rules to define. Now, if you define those rules in system terms, budgets and things like those, you can easily handle the expense approvals. So you can say, okay, well, look, we allow our employees to spend X amount per day when they're on site, spend X amount per day when they're going for a customer's visit, and Y amount per day if they're not going for a customer visit, X mileage, Y accommodation spend and things like those. It will automatically be approved for them, and it won't have to go through a manual approval process. While you have these rules that you can define manually, you also have rules which you can define easily with AI as well. But yes, some of these things are legislative. They come in from HMRC revenue to say, look, this is what you're following, while some of the other rules are a bit more company specific, where you're defining these rules on effectively a company's decision as to what they want to pay, in a budget perspective, whether they pay for a 3-star hotel or a 4-star or a 5-star hotel. Sometimes they define this on the basis of the designation of the employee as well. A director level can stay in 4-star, anybody below that can stay in 3-star. possible. So you define this on the basis of, the rules are defined on the basis of your employees and their designations. But don't forget, as soon as I say employees, you're also talking about employees to be stored somewhere in your database as well. You need to define their designations as well. You need to define their levels as well. If it is one system, it will cover everything. If they are two systems and they're integrated together, that will work as well. As soon as you go, these systems don't talk to each other, you will not get the advantage of the automation. So look for solutions where, yes, you can integrate these properly, or look for automation where you don't need to integrate and it's available out of the box.
Awesome. We just have a quick question here in the Q&A row here, actually, which is, can you explain a little bit more about the automation of employee expenses / reclaims? Can you set up a system or form that they fill in?
You can set up a system, yes. Ashling, thanks for the question. And you can set up a system where, yes, they can be approved automatically as well, but you have to define a good, substantial set of rules for it. And if you define the rules correctly, yes, it's true.
Awesome. Thank you. Nice and quick. Okay, last but not least, I think this probably be a bit of a longer question. So question 10, which is, from sales to accounts, then how do you track and automate that entire process then, all the way from point of sale to the invoice creation and payment tracking then? How does that process look?
So that's the most basic process when it comes to a full ERP system, when it comes to a full accounts system. When I say full account system, in general, I would say your accounting software, Sage and Xero and likes of those are only accounting software, while you have the full operation system, which is when sales come in, there is a CRM bit to it, following up with the customer and all that. Then it comes to delivery. So whether you're delivering goods or whether you're delivering services, you have to manage those as well. So there is either a project management system or there is a stock management system. Both of those kick in. And then finally, the accounting and finance system. So there are a number of systems out there that you can look at. And these systems offer you a full end-to-end solution. Everything from sales up to invoicing. Look at some of the solutions which are there in the market, but some businesses call them ERP system, while we call them effectively a digital transformation system. The name isn't important. What's important is, what do they do for you? Do they actually give you that joint up thinking? Do they give you that joint up information? Do they give you all the data analytics that you're looking for in order to automate your business? Fantastic. Don't worry about what they're called. Do they come at the right price? That's also another criteria as well. But yes, there are enough systems available in the market which will help you automate the journey right from the beginning, sales, up until invoicing, billing, financing, and even beyond as well in some cases. Don't forget, if you have project management, if you have repair management, if you have field service, you have human intervention as well. You need to look at their availability, whether they are coming into the business or not, what time are they coming in, what shift are they running in that day, what routes are they driving upon as well. Are they going to East Midlands, West Midlands, are they going to South? And then effectively, accordingly, I need to plan their availability. I need to tell the customer whether they'll be there or not. Yes, loads of kind of options. But good news is it's all possible at this stage with technology.
Effectively, then, what I've learned from today is then that whole journey and everything around it, from the point of sale to invoicing, even everything in between that, can then be automated. It just depends on the business, how you're set up and what's available to you, right?
I'll give you a very basic example. We were talking to a company yesterday and they came in to just first initial chat based in Gloucester, were manufacturing, and they were talking about, how they will have to train their users up on putting the data into the system, things like those. And we were talking to them, and we went over their website, looked at what the plant looks like. We haven't visited them yet. This is initial chat. I'm like, wait, hold on. What are you talking about? Why do the users need to put this data in twice? We can pull that data off machines directly as well, and you can integrate things. Everything in theory is possible, but even practically as well, in today's day and age, things are possible. there are devices available which will help you transform any information. I picked up this little device earlier today just to show off. It's a little device which can be connected to a manufacturing unit, and you effectively can pull all the data out and put it into your ERP system. So then all of a sudden, you don't have to manually type that data in or scan that data in. It's coming from your manufacturing plant. You're reducing further work for your employees. So yes, all of that is possible. And all of that is possible if you think outside the box. If you keep thinking in the ways of, look, we need to type this data in and we need another Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. No, before you go Excel spreadsheet and Word document, you need to probably think differently and go, what is the process around it? And define that process. Mind you, by defining processes, you'll go miles, because yes, you'll be able to then go, where are the bottlenecks in this process and which parts need to be automated? The process is the key. Process comes first. Everything else is later.
And it effectively seems like then all of this is built around reducing cost and error and everything around that, isn't it?
If you think about it, at the moment, it's in most of the cities and countries, the situation is we are at full employment. Our employment is high. It's difficult to find good skilled people, and it's cost as well. But then at the same time, it's efficiency. If it is the same boring task day in, day out, people will lose their patience with it. Your employees will not be as motivated. So what you want to do is get them more motivated in challenging tasks rather than just type the data in.
I suppose then that reduces risk in terms of errors, but then also if they have more time, that your employees have more time, that increases efficiency, which increases their ability to go and make sales or do other jobs and things like that. So it really is just that whole
Be
efficiency.
happy. I mean, forget everything. It'll be a happier workplace, and all of a sudden you'll be able to talk about, we invest in people, and people will be so happy, and they'll be so energetic to come into the work and work there, and it can impact in multiple ways. There are, again, another example from experiences, but there was a business we were talking to, and they were telling us it's difficult for them to hire staff now because they use a very old, outdated system, which can only be used on this black screen, and it's all DOS-based commands and things like those. While in the modern world, we are onto web-based applications and things like those. And they were like, we can't find people who can easily manage the software. Anybody young we try and hire, they look at the software and they leave because they can't be bothered learning the software. So think about it. Generation gap is kicking in if your software is very outdated.
Amazing, Rohit. Well, and that's answered all of my questions. I think actually we might finish exactly on time. So just quickly, if you've got any other questions, just pop them in the chat now, or if you need to shoot off, what I'll do is I'll download the recording of the webinar today. I'll send that out to everyone as well, so I can introduce you to Rohit if you haven't met him yet. We can ask any questions back and forth, and we can go from there. But if there's no more questions, I'm going to say thank you to Rohit for me to challenge him with those 10 questions. I think he's done really well there.
Thank you, Robert. You did very well in coming up with those questions without being an accountant. So this is brilliant.
Okie dokie then. I think if there's no more questions then, gang, we're going to leave it there. And yes, like I said, we'll reach out after the webinar now when I've got this downloaded, and feel free to shoot us any questions or have a coffee with Rohit and quiz him like I've done today. So we'll say thank you and bye for now, and we'll speak to you soon. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.